I reached over and switched off my alarm. I couldn't believe it was morning already. It felt like I'd only been asleep for about an hour. All I wanted to do was curl up and go back to sleep. But it was a school day, so there was no chance of me having a lie-in. I pushed the bed covers off me and got out of bed. It was my own fault. I was feeling so tired. I had stayed up late playing computer games with my friends. I had a quick wash and went downstairs to the kitchen where my mom and dad were eating breakfast. Bye, Mom. I'm off to school.
What about your breakfast, Tess?
I haven't got time. I'll just grab something on the way. I picked up my school bag and had almost got to the front door when I heard my mom's voice.
Don't forget to put your mask on.
I sighed and rolled my eyes. Okay, Mom. I picked up my fake face mask and put it on. Hey, but before I continue, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell too so you won't miss out on any more crazy stories like mine. You're probably wondering why I wear a fake face mask, aren't you? You probably even think it's a bit weird, right? But for me, it's normal. I've worn a fake face mask for as long as I can remember. When I was very little, my parents explained it all to me. You see, I have this rare skin condition. It affects my face, making me super sensitive to sunlight. If the sunlight sets onto my face, then I could be scarred for life. I don't know anyone else that has my condition. I guess it's really rare. Anyway, I'm fine with wearing a mask most of the time. It's just something I have to accept. When I arrived at school, I went to find my friends, and they were all hanging out in the schoolyard.
Hey, Tess, over here.
I ran over to join them.
Why are you so late?
Oh, you know, I stayed up late gaming and couldn't get out of bed this morning.
Haha, what did your mom say?
I didn't tell her. And don't you say anything either, okay?
Of course not.
The bell went then, and we all went off to class. Eventually, the last bell of the day rang. I grabbed my jacket and walked out of the school gates and set off for home. I hadn't gone very far when a girl suddenly appeared in front of me. She was also wearing a mask. Not a fake face one, like me though. It was one of those surgical ones, you know, like what doctors wear. Suddenly, she pointed at my arm.
What's that mark on your arm?
I thought that it was a bit of a weird question to ask a stranger. I mean, it's not really the kind of thing you do, is it? I decided to just ignore her, and she was making me feel really uncomfortable. I hurried off down the road, leaving the girl standing there. When I got home, I went up to my room and sat down on my bed. I glanced down at the star-shaped birthmark on my arm. Who was that strange girl, and why was she interested in my lucky star? That's what my parents called my birthmark. They told me when I was younger that I had a lucky star watching over me. The next day, I had completely forgotten about the strange girl. So you can imagine how surprised I was when I was walking home from school and the same girl appeared in front of me. She stood there staring intensely at my face. Suddenly, without any warning, she leapt towards me and pulled off my face mask. Ah! I screamed out loudly, but the girl just gasped. No! What have you done? I tried to shield my face from the sunlight, but it was too late. For the first time in my life, I felt the warmth of the sun on my face. I waited for the inevitable pain, but there was nothing. That's weird. I thought I would feel some burning sensation or something. I took my mirror out of my school bag and looked at my face. There was nothing. No reaction, no scarring, nothing. But my parents told me that I would get terrible scars. Surely they wouldn't have lied, would they? Before I had time to process what was going on my head, something even stranger happened. The girl stepped forward and started hugging me. I pushed her away from me forcefully. Get off me! What are you doing? Are you crazy? But instead of answering me, the girl just took off her surgical mask. You will not believe what she looked like behind the mask. Me! Yep, that's right. She looked exactly the same as me. I was absolutely speechless. I just stood there staring at her, not saying a word. The girl opened her mouth and was about to say something when I suddenly heard the screech of tires and a car pulled up beside the two of us. Someone opened the car door, grabbed hold of the girl, and pulled her inside. Before I knew it, the car had driven off and I was left standing there all alone. That's when I really started to panic. I'm not sure if it was the shock of seeing the girl's face or the fact that I had just witnessed a kidnapping, but the adrenaline surged through my body and I ran home as fast as I could. As I burst through the front door, panting and gasping for breath, I tried to explain everything to my parents. Someone kidnapped a girl in front of me.
Wait a minute. Slow down. You're not making any sense. Now, take a deep breath and start at the beginning.
I calmed myself down and told my parents the whole story. Well, actually, not the whole story. I didn't tell them that the girl had looked just like me. And I also didn't tell them that she had taken my face mask off. I guess it was some kind of instinct that told me not to mention it.
Well, that certainly does sound very serious. We should call the police and tell them.
My dad went through to the lounge and made the call. I could hear him telling the police everything that I had told him.
Yes, of course, officer. If she remembers any more details, I'll be sure to let you know.
My dad came back through to me and my mom.
They haven't had any reports of a missing person, but they're going to look into it.
I really hope they find her.
I'm sure they will. Don't you give it another thought.
Okay, Dad. But I couldn't do what my dad had said. All I could think about was the girl's face. I felt so guilty knowing that someone who looked just like me had been kidnapped. I mean, if she hadn't seen me, maybe she wouldn't have been kidnapped. I decided that I was going to do some investigating on my own. That night, I wrote down every single detail of what had happened. And the following day, I spent every spare minute reading through my notes. Surely there must be some clue here. There must be something to help me find the girl. My eyes hovered over where I had written the make and model of the car. It's weird, but there's something about that car that seemed familiar. I'm sure I've seen it somewhere before, but I couldn't for the life of me remember where I knew the car from. It was only when I was walking home from school and I turned the corner into our street that I remembered. Of course! How could I not have remembered before? The car looks identical to our neighbor's car. When I got home, I called the police immediately. I think I know who kidnapped the girl.
Who?
Our next door neighbor.
What makes you say that?
It's the car. Their car is the one that the kidnappers were driving.
Thank you. We will send someone around to speak with them.
The police did send a couple of officers to speak to our neighbors, but unfortunately, they had a tight-knit alibi. They had been at their cousin's birthday party at the time of the kidnapping. They had more than 20 witnesses that could testify for them. There was no way that it could have been them that had committed the kidnapping. Before the officers left, they asked to take a look inside the car. As soon as they opened the back door, my heart skipped a beat and my blood ran cold. There, on the back seat, was my mother's earring. I would recognize it anywhere. I quickly grabbed it and shoved it into my pocket before the officers had a chance to see it.
Well, there doesn't seem to be anything inside the car that would help us. I think we have to accept that your neighbors are innocent.
Yes, it does seem that way. Sorry if I wasted your time.
Don't worry about it. If you think of anything else, let us know.
Yes, definitely. The officers drove off and I went back inside our house. I went through to the kitchen where my parents were sitting at the table and took my mom's earring out of my pocket. What's this?
It's my earring. Where did you find it?
On the back seat of our neighbor's car.
Oh, yes. I must have left it there the day I went.
Don't even bother trying to deny it. I can see the guilt all over your faces.
What are you talking about, Tess?
Don't treat me like a child. I know you had something to do with the kidnapping. I demand to know the truth.
Okay. You're right. It was us.
Even though I had felt pretty certain my parents had been involved, actually hearing them say it out loud came as a bit of a shock.
We kidnapped the girl and we used the neighbor's car to throw off the police.
But why? Why would you do something like that? My mom looked at my dad as if to get his approval. He nodded at her.
Tess, the girl that we kidnapped is your clone.
My what?
Your clone.
How could that even happen?
Look, Tess, you know that we work at Area 51. When you were a little baby, some of your DNA, probably from a strand of hair or something being left on my body, ended up getting inside a cloning machine during an experiment. It resulted in a clone of you being made.
I put my hands on each side of my head and started shaking it from left to right. How could you let that happen?
It was an accident, and the scientists assured us that the clone would never get out of Area 51.
But she did get out, didn't she?
Not long after you were cloned, Area 51 was broken into. Whoever broke in took the clone.
My dad stood up and put his arms around me.
That's why we make you wear the mask. We wanted to protect you from the clone and anyone else. We knew that by wearing the mask, no one would know your real identity.
It was all fine for years. In fact, we had almost completely forgotten about the clone. That was until one day your dad and I were driving home and we saw the girl. We decided to go out the following day and look for her, using the neighbor's car. When we saw her, we just bundled her into the car. To be honest, we didn't even know it was you talking to her until you came home and told us.
So where is she now?
We are keeping her at a safe house. It's about an hour from here.
I want to go and see her. I want to know that she is safe.
Okay, we will take you there.
We pulled up outside what seemed like an ordinary house. No one would ever suspect someone had been kidnapped and was being held there. My dad unlocked the door and the three of us went inside. As soon as the girl saw me, her face lit up. She almost looked relieved. Are you okay?
Yes, I'm fine.
Can you tell me what happened at Area 51?
Do you mean with the break-in?
Yes, why did they take you?
The break-in was actually staged. They wanted to make it look like some kind of robbery. Some of the staff working at Area 51 felt sorry for me. They knew what horrors the people working there would subject me to. Continuous experiments, torture, all of that horrid stuff. They rescued me and raised me as their own child.
So why did you come looking for me?
Because I had always known that there was someone out in the world that looked exactly like me. Curiosity got the better of me, and I decided I would go out and explore the area, try to see if I could find you.
Well, you found me.
That was just lucky. I would never have recognized you if it wasn't for your birthmark. As soon as I saw it on your arm, I felt sure it was you. But your face confused me. You didn't look anything like me.
So that's why you pulled off my mask.
Yes, as soon as I saw your real face, I knew that I had found you.
So now what do you want?
Well, it would be nice if we could get to know each other a little bit. Maybe one day we could even be friends.
I smiled at her. I guess I could do that. She gave me a huge beaming smile.
I was hoping you might say that.
Just when I thought that everything was going to turn out fine, my dad suddenly looked as white as a sheet. What's the matter, Dad?
They're here.
Who's here?
It's all the scientists from Area 51. Somehow they must have found out that the clone is here and they're coming to take her back.
No, there's no way I'm going back there. They can't make me.
I'm afraid they can.
Is there a back way out of here, Dad?
Yes, but you'll have to be quick.
I handed my mask to the girl. Here, put this on. They won't know who you are if they see you. She took the mask from my hand and put it over her face. We went to the back door and I gave her a hug. Go on now, run for your life. Get as far away from here as possible. We will stall them as best as we can. I watched as the girl ran off down the street. I have no idea if I will ever see her again, but I really do hope that one day we will meet again.
Robbie, look over there.
Not falling for that one again, Alan.
Oh, come on. I removed my Super Soaker water gun from where I was hiding it underwater and pressed the trigger until my brother was completely soaked.
Boys, stop that right now. Come have a snack. You've played in the water enough.
Robbie and I are twins, extraordinary ones, but we didn't know that yet. We looked a bit different. I had blonde hair while Robbie had black hair, but our faces were the same. It's weird. Our parents had just taken us for a vacation in the forest. We were going to spend the whole summer there. They rented a little cabin and all we were allowed to do all day was run around in nature, or
enjoy the wilderness,
as my dad liked to put it. No phones, computers, Nintendos, nothing. We weren't upset about it at all though. In fact, we loved it there. We could run around and behave as ridiculously as we liked. Before I continue, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more awesome videos. Hit that notification bell too, but only if you're amazing. Anyway, after that awesome picnic by the lake, we went back to the cabin and our parents asked us to go for a walk because they wanted some alone time. Why?
Just go enjoy the wilderness, son.
But I want to take a nap.
Just go.
So we decided to go wandering off. Did we know where we were going? No, but that was the fun of being explorers. We walked for a long time, play fighting all the way. We threw rocks and mud at each other and jumped in any little puddle we found. Then we reached a clearing. It was like an area without trees or anything, just a big circle in the middle of the forest.
This is weird.
Yeah.
What should we do?
So we did what any normal 10-year-old boys would do. We went to stand in the middle, of course. Suddenly it started to rain, but there was something different about it. The water was blue, like seriously blue. We paused for a while just to watch the blue droplets dance on our skin. Then we opened our mouths to taste the water. It tasted like ordinary rain. Eventually, there was one big blue puddle, and we just played in it some more until we realized the sky was getting darker. We decided to try to make our way back to the cabin. It took us a while because, like I said, we didn't know where we were going to begin with, and we hadn't thought about using breadcrumbs or anything like that. When we got back, my mom and dad hugged us.
You two were gone for hours.
Yeah, but you told us to go away.
But not for so long. Why are you all blue?
We went inside, showered, and got changed. My mom made us some hot chocolate and told us to sit and behave ourselves. Robbie and I sat at the little table, feeling very satisfied about our little adventure. Robbie picked up his cup first and started drinking, but when I picked up mine, it broke into many pieces. There was hot chocolate all over the floor and my hand was burning too. That's weird, how did that happen?
I'll help you pick it up.
As Robbie bent to pick up the pieces, the cup stuck itself back together like magic. Suddenly, my mom ran in.
What is all of this noise about? Oh my gosh, there's chocolate all over the floor. Go get the mop.
She left the room and Robbie and I went to find the mop, but as soon as I picked it up, it snapped in half. Robbie grabbed the two pieces from me and it came back together.
Something must have happened to us in that rain.
Yeah, it seems that I destroy everything I touch, but you can fix everything.
Let's test this out.
We tried our new strange superpowers on almost everything in the cabin, while our parents weren't looking, of course. I broke everything and Robbie fixed everything. Should we tell Mom and Dad?
No, this is our secret.
We went back home a few days later and I had to be extremely careful. It was kind of frustrating, to be honest. Robbie had to do almost everything for me because I kept breaking things. Then, just like that, summer was over and it was time to start school again. Luckily, we were in the same class. We sat together just to make sure I didn't get myself into too much trouble breaking stuff. We had a nice teacher and I just told her that my hands were always hurting so I couldn't write anything. Robbie had double the work and it was fine for a while, but I could tell he was becoming frustrated. But school was also a place for us to become superheroes without anyone noticing. Our targets? School bullies and awful teachers. If we noticed anyone being unnecessarily mean, I'd just touch their stuff during recess and they'd come back and have no idea.